Disney Plus has done it again, Jem. Episode 1 of Moon Knight was my favorite premiere of any show on the app to date.
Wow, those are some strong words, but it was a big first episode. I can't believe it's already been 7 days and episode 2 is out, just like it's been 7 days since we came at you reporting the hottest comics in the market today.
Another week, another list, monster record breakers, the comic books defining this generation of collectors. Hit the like, slap the subscribe, comment down below. You know we have a giveaway we're doing, and at the list at number 10, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 121.
This is the death of Gwen Stacy, and this book hasn't been hot since we were leading up to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie with Andrew Garfield.
It's interesting to think that Andrew Garfield completing his story arc didn't bring this comic book down in value. In fact, it's still on the upswing. Looking at the 3.0, $300 back in October, up 2%, now selling for $305, and the 4.5 going for $479 in December at its height is up 2%. This is post the movie debuting, now hitting $490. And then we had a 5.0 that broke records. Back in June of 2021, it was at its height at $525. Mid-March, we saw a $550 sale for a book that wasn't a white pager. That's an increase of 5%. But March 27th, just weeks later, someone was able to grab a white pager, the same grade, for $366. This shows that there are opportunities, especially when you wait for it at auction, to grab something on the low, because look at how much this book has climbed over the years.
It could have been a deal, or it could have been the fact that the seller for that $550 sale used some creative marketing to get that eBay listing sold. Not saying I condone or endorse it, but it could have been a factor. Moving on to number 9, you know with the Moon Knight hype, we had to have some Moon Knight stuff here. We have Marvel Spotlight 28, the first solo Moon Knight story.
We get the reveal of the multiple personalities in this issue of Jake Lockley as well as Stephen Grant, who we know from the recent Moon Knight show, because the focus is less about Mark Spector and more about the parasite alt personality Stephen Grant. And this book not only had a 9.8 record breaker land this week, but we are actually talking about the 30-cent variant above all else.
Yeah, we get those multiple personalities here, but it's also the first appearance of Marlene, his long-term love interest, who just may show up in the show. So we have those 30-cent price variants, a CGC 5.5 hit market. We don't have a prior record sale on that, so the standard 5.5, for reference point, sold for $177. The 5.5 30-cent price variant just sold for $373. Now, we do have a prior record sale on the 7.0. It sold for $350 back in 2020. Again, the 30-cent price variant. This all-new record-breaking sale puts it up 86%, now selling for $650. But wait, we got one more, the standard edition, the CGC 9.8. We have another record-breaking sale. It sold for $3,900 back in February. It's up now 5%, selling for $4,100.
Breaking the $4,000 marker, hot damn, comic fam. At the list at number 8, we have Tales to Astonish 44, the first appearance and origin of the Wasp. With Quantum Mania in the horizon, Kang drawing near, we're seeing the last affordable Marvel blue chip books get picked up before it's too late. Look at this. We have an intro copy, a 0.5 that was incomplete. Last selling for $280 back in 2019, up 7%. Now selling for $300.
That's right, for an OG Avenger, the CGC 2.5 sold for $700 back in November. It's up 20%, now selling for $840. Then we have the CGC 4.0, sold for $1,099 back in December, and it's up 12%, now selling for $1,236.
Use code TOM101 to access this very list that we discuss every single week prior to our video coming out on Key Collector Comics, available for both Androids and iPhones. We have the most comprehensive database of key issues, pricing in the world. Key Collector Comics is going to up your comic game, keep you savvy on the hunt, catalog your comic books, get suggested pricing, support the show, and so much more. And next at the list at number 7, we got to talk about the second appearance of Miles Morales.
I'm surprised we don't talk about Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue number 1 more often. With almost modern day grail status for Ultimate Fallout 4, collectors are going to want to scoop up that next best thing that's slightly more affordable, but for how long? We have some newsstand editions to talk about, as well as the 1 out of 30 ratio variant.
As far as modern comics go during this era, 2011, as much as 4% or less of the market have that barcode. We're sold in a different way outside of an LCS, for example. These newsstands are considered ghosts, and regardless of if they are 8.0 or 8.5, they are seeing a jump in price because of that scarcity. The 8.0 back in February hit $675. That's up 7%, now selling for $725. The 8.5 going for $220 back in 2021 is up 173%, now selling for $600. Clearly, this member was sick of waiting any longer and grabbed the first one that he can get because that book is selling for less than what the 8.0 just sold for.
But let's talk about that 1/30 ratio variant. We have a CGC 9.8 sale from 2021 where it sold for $3,109. It even went as far as to hitting lows of $1,226 in 2021, but this new record-breaking sale puts it up 28%, selling for a clean $4K.
Now, I'm getting a little worried, Jem. I mean, clearly Spider-Man Far From Home was a masterpiece, but man, their lineup hasn't been great. Haven't been as big of a fan of the Venom films, and with the recent ratings coming out about Morbius.
Morbius came out and it's the #1 movie in the world. So, yeah, pretty fun, pretty nice surprise.
It makes me concerned about Miles. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I got to agree with you there. I don't have a lot of faith in Sony. Guys in the chat, let us know what you think below.
It'll enter you to win this Omni-Man Invincible 1 variant at the list at number 6, Doctor Strange #1 from 1974.
Of course, we're going to see Doctor Strange Keys making the list. This is the first solo series, and we've had this on the list multiple times this year, and we have more record-breaking sales to report on, including a 7.0, which sold for $225 back in September. It's up 33%, now selling for $300.
The 7.5 going for $212 in February is up 2%, now selling for $216. And that 8.5 hitting $325 in December is up 15% as well, going for $375. Now the 9.8, I want to remind the community the heights this book has recently hit, which was $3,800 in just February. Early March, we see copies go for around the $2,000 marker. Now, it doesn't mean that this book isn't valued on the higher end. It could mean a lot of things. It could be the condition of the book. We don't have pictures of all the books that make these lists, right? However, it is also worth mentioning that it's not every day that someone has this type of money ready to lay down for these key collectibles when they are as expensive as they get. But knowing that this book has reached in the same year near $4,000 and is selling for at the prime opportunity as much as half of that should tell you that there is spec room on all lower grades.
Yes, sir, and that's what we call the trickle-down effect, and we're going to see a prime example up next at number 5. We have Nova, issue #1. First appearance of Richard Rider has been super hot. It's had some monster 9.8 sales, which has led to those lower grades appreciating in value.
We know that Nova, both Sam Alexander and Richard Rider are slated for the MCU. This has been rumored, but also confirmed by Kevin Feige for over 4 years at this point. Well, with the recent deadline announcement that there is a film in active development, it could be a show. I'm betting on a film. We did see some record breakers last week. The 9.8 hit $3,000. Since then, we have seen publicly recorded sales of 2,500. It doesn't necessarily mean that the book is dropping. It just shows that members are taking their collectibles out and putting them on the market now, which has moved up the floor of the lower grades. Case in point, the 7.5 going for $210 in December, up 5%, now selling for $220. The 8.0 going for $270 last year is up 1%, now selling for $275.
And then we have the CGC 9.4, which sold for $499 just last week, up 15%, now selling for $575.
And then we're moving on to number 4 with the supernatural, the occult. We have Marvel Premiere number 28 from 1976, the first team appearance of the Legion of Monsters.
If it feels like we've been talking about this book a lot, it's because it is the second consecutive week it's made the Hot 10, and it's also made the Hot 10 3 times between July and August. This book just keeps breaking records. A CGC 8.0 sold for $386 back in August. It's up 9%, now selling for $419. Then the 8.5, which sold for $400 in July, is up 50%, now selling for $600. And that leaves us with the 9.2, which sold for $740 back in February. It's up 8%, now selling for $800.
And now we're moving over to number 3 on the list with Fantastic Four issue number 2, the second appearance of the first Marvel family, the first appearance of the Skrulls, debuting in 1962 Stan Lee, Jack Kirby goodness.
Awesome book, great key. Kind of an ugly cover, but this is the granddaddy Skrull key to own, and we know that Secret Invasion is coming to Disney+, so of course we're going to see these keys start to rise.
And oh, what a secret this show has been. They have managed to keep this show under wraps more than when Mark Spector goes full Moon Knight, and it's reflective in the record breakers. A 2.5 back in May of last year went for $2,025. We knew that this show was coming. People were speccing on multiple books. But then in September, it dropped to $1,705 because of the lack of marketing. There was virtually nothing coming out of the studio. But as the show draws near, we see a all-new record breaker this month, now selling for $2,266. That's an increase of 12%.
Bringing it back to its former glory. Then we have the 5.5, which sold for $4,211 back in 2021, up 20%, now selling for $5,040. Then let's round it out with the 6.0. It sold for $5,760 back in May. Similar to the 2.5, we then had 2 sales in the $5,000 range, but now this all-new record-breaking sale puts it up 111%, selling for $12,100.
Hot damn, comic fam. If you like what we do and you want to support the show, go to comictom101.com, link in the description, to join the April mystery mail call. And one per box, we teamed up with one of the biggest artists of our era, Peach Momoko. We have 2 different versions of Something is Killing the Children 21 going out at random. Not both, but each box is guaranteed one. Link in the description. And Jem, hit him with number 2 on the list.
Number 2 on the list is a nice change of pace. We have Voltron, issue number 1, the first appearance of Voltron in comics.
Taking us back to 1985, a series that has a few renditions on Netflix currently available, but a live action series has been in development hell for over 2 decades. And we have multiple records to report on, but specifically a Canadian price variant and a newsstand that we got to talk about.
That Canadian price variant that Tom mentioned is a CGC 9.4. It sold for just $131 back in 2020. It's now up 91%, selling for $250.
Then we have the newsstand edition, a 9.0 going for $95 back in November, is up 44%, now selling for $137. Now, as far as newsstands go, 1985 is the start of when newsstands started to become less available in the marketplace. But a way to tell whether you should be interested in a newsstand or not, it's always based on how scarce they are. And the way that you can appropriately determine that, because CGC, CBCS, they don't keep an accurate record on the census differentiating between direct market and newsstand copies, is pulling up eBay, looking at the 90-day trends of comics that have sold, and simply counting out how often a newsstand comes up. And what you'll find is that it's about a 1-to-10 ratio. For every 9 direct copies, you see 1 newsstand. So yeah, 1985 may seem like a year where you shouldn't care that much about the newsstand, but clearly they come up far less than the direct market copies do.
And that's evident when you look at the census to the 670 graded copies, with almost half of them being CGC 9.8s. Moving on over to the direct market, a CGC 9.2 sold for $153 just last week. It's up 11%, now selling for $170. And then the CGC 9.4, which sold for $160 last week, now up 56%, selling for $250.
With such a staggering amount of 9.8s graded on the census, it makes sense why members are actively hunting for scarcer copies, whether it be the 30-cent variant or that barcode. We appreciate your time today. As always, just kidding. Hit the like, slap the subscribe, and Jem, hit him with the #1 hottest book in the world.
The #1 hottest comic book in the world, and it's another Doctor Strange key. We had Doctor Strange issue 1 earlier, and I mentioned that it was the first solo series. This issue, Doctor Strange 169, is his first solo issue, formerly titled Strange Tales. That's right, it was Strange Tales at just issue 168.
We warned the community about the trickle-down effect. Mid-March, we saw a 9.8 sell for $10,700, and this week, we're looking at 5 different record breakers. Buckle up. We have a 2.0 with no previous sales data selling for $163. A 2.5 back in November going for $120, up 171%, now selling for $325. The 3.5 going for $300 in February is up 20%, now selling for $360.
Which brings us to the 6.5, which sold for $613 back in February. That's up 14%, now selling for $700. And then the top dog of them all, at least for this week, the CGC 7.0, which sold for $795 back in February, holding steady, up 2%, selling for $807.
What do you think about this list and the books that made it? Do you own any of them? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always,
geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said. Join Gem Mint, myself, and the rest of the Whatnot Wednesday squad over on the best new app to buy and sell collectibles. Whatnot, available for both Androids and iOS. Dollar start auctions that last as little as 15 seconds long. Link in the description, and we also have 2 other videos for you to check out. We made them for you. Enjoy them. Either one. You can pick. We'll keep them up there for a second. Have a great week.